Winnebago County Circuit Court Judge Branch 4 segment of our Candidates Forum, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Winnebago County and Oshkosh Media. In Circuit Court Branch 4, Lakeisha Hayes, the incumbent, is challenged by Mike Gibbs. Candidates, our timekeeper will give you cues. Thank you for keeping your answers short so that we may cover as many issues as possible. When you see the stop sign, please stop. The audience may submit questions. Raise your hand if you have a question that you would like one of our volunteers to pick up. Some questions were submitted in advance, and panelists have also prepared questions. Questions may have been edited for brevity and clarity. Candidates have not seen the questions beforehand. At the conclusion of this forum, I will offer you each a 30-second opportunity to clarify or rebut something said earlier. And with that, we'll start with opening statements. You each have 2 minutes to tell us about your background, qualifications for the office of Circuit Court Judge, and your reason for seeking election to this position. Why should voters choose you over your opponent? And we're going to start with the challenger, Mike Gibbs.
Well, first I would like to thank the League for allowing us to come here and just speak a little bit about what's important to this community. I think the role that you do in this is very important. But a little background on myself. I am a third-generation resident of Winnebago County. I was born and raised in Neenah. I graduated from Neenah High School. I went to Milwaukee, where I got a bachelor's and master's, as well as my law degree. My law degree was at Marquette University Law School. I have been married for over 20 years. I have 5 children, 3 of which are teenagers, and I've been in private practice for over 16 years now. My primary focus has really been in a lot of adoptions, estate planning, personal injury. I do guardian ad litem work. I handle civil litigation, real estate, business law. I have a wide variety of civil law experience. I've sat on really every side of the table, from a plaintiff, a defendant, a guardian ad litem. I'm a court commissioner. I've been doing that for about 8 years now. My role as a court commissioner is primarily in the Chapter 51 cases, which are the mental commitments. I also serve on a board. The board is Brook Industries. It specializes in people with developmental disabilities and helping them to obtain work. I'm active in my church as well as in my community. Why I decided to run, I really looked at the world as being a little crazy over the past couple of years and feeling like somebody needs to do something about this. And I kept asking that question, and I kept looking in the mirror, and I thought, well, why not you? What can you do? And so I decided that as an attorney, I could run for judge here in Winnebago County.
Thank you, Mike. Lakeisha.
Thank you. I am Judge Lakeisha Hayes. First, I am a very proud mother of 2 little children. I have 5-year-old Ryan and 8-year-old Gabriel. I am a 25-year resident of Winnebago County. I moved here to attend UW Oshkosh and never left. I met my husband here. After UW Oshkosh, obtaining a degree in finance and legal studies, I took a position with the Winnebago County Courthouse, working first with the clerk of courts, assigned as the court assistant to Judge Gritton, and then worked my way to being the judicial assistant for Judge Karen Seifert in Branch 4. I then moved on to Marquette Law School, graduated from there, and of course ended up practicing here in the area. I have been a trial attorney for 10 years. My entire career has been spent in the courtroom. And as the judge for the past year, of course, my entire career as a judge is spent in the courtroom. I can tell you, as a trial attorney, I had represented and appeared in the courtroom on over 3,000 cases. Since taking the bench, I have presided over to disposition over 1,000 cases. My area of law started out in criminal law. When I moved into private practice, that evolved into civil, family, juvenile, and I also began doing even more probate matters. I have the absolute most experience when it comes to this. The wide variety of cases in which I have appeared on the record in over 12 counties. Winnebago County is a general jurisdiction court, meaning we handle every single type of state law, and I have all the experience in every single area of those laws, even before I took the bench.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we're going to have a set of questions. You'll each have 1 minute to respond to a question which has been submitted either by the public or by one of our panelists. And we will start with Karen asking a question of Mike.
All right, Mike, we're going to go with this one. I'm going to do it a two-part one because we have a question from the audience as well. And how would other attorneys describe your judicial temperament? And what is the important quality in a judge that you believe you personify?
I think that the best thing to do would be to ask some of the attorneys that have appeared before me. A few of them have written endorsements on my website, so I would certainly encourage anyone to go and look at those. But I believe that the attorneys that have been in front of me in my court cases would certainly describe me as having a calm demeanor. I believe that that is extremely important. When one enters the court system, it tends to be a really stressful situation for them. Usually people don't want to be in court. So having a judge with a calm demeanor, I think, is extremely important. And I think that would be the primary way that people would describe me, as well as just fair and someone that is going to give everyone a fair shot, regardless of what they're coming in front of me for.
Okay, thank you. Lakeisha?
I would be described as fair, honest, transparent, prepared, and respectful. And that is exactly how I live my life. I took that to the bench with me. I think that most people are very impressed by my ability to remain knowledgeable on the laws in which I must preside over, my ability to provide the necessary information about the decisions that I made, and I am committed to doing that on every single type of case, regardless of the area of law.
Okay, thank you. Bremen, we'll have you ask a question of Lakeisha first.
Yeah, how will your specific experience as an attorney enhance your ability to serve as the circuit court judge?
I have the 8 years of trial experience as a criminal defense attorney. I did that through the public defender's office, working with the indigent, the underrepresented, the marginalized communities. As you heard previously, the majority of cases in Winnebago County, and actually any county, is 60 to 70% of criminal law. Not only do I know the criminal procedure, I know the laws, and I have been successful at that. I bring that to the bench. I also know that as an attorney, as someone who has also been a huge advocate, not only when it comes to law, but when it comes to different areas in the community and different areas that the community is concerned about, I'm bringing that to the bench with me. I am someone who had to pick myself up by the bootstraps. I worked my way through college myself, paid for it by myself. I am the first graduate of college, the first to move on from that, and I am a hard worker. I bring all of that to the bench.
Thank you. Mike?
Can you repeat the question?
How will your specific experience as an attorney enhance your ability to serve as a circuit court judge?
Well, I think with 16 years of private practice, you never really know who's going to walk through your door. There are people from all walks of life that really need help and need some assistance in the courtroom. And I think that experience has really allowed me to represent people of all different walks of life. I think that just getting to know different people through that process has certainly helped. Also, just having such a wide variety of legal experience, from doing the personal injury cases, guardianship cases, probate. There's just so many different kinds of people that you meet, and I think that will help me as those different people eventually come into the courtroom. And certainly I've got the experience and the knowledge to be able to do that.
Okay, thank you. Question from Karen to Mike.
Okay. So the Winnebago courts have developed some special programs such as the drug court and teen court. Can you describe them for us? Do you support these? And are there other areas of law that you think might be considered for a similar program?
Yeah, drug court and teen court I absolutely support. I think any time that we, as judges, can have tools to use that are going to help people that are in front of you, it's excellent and imperative that we have those. Other possible courts that certainly would be beneficial. In other counties, I know that there are veterans courts. Veterans certainly face different issues that a large part of society doesn't necessarily have to. So I would be an advocate of a veterans court. There's also, certain counties have OWI courts. I think that reduces the caseload a little bit and can certainly help. So I would be an advocate of any of those other specialty courts as well. But I am absolutely for them and believe that they are an asset to the court system.
Thank you, Lakeisha.
Drug court is an alternatives to incarceration program, and it is designed for those who are high risk and high need. High risk as it relates to their level of substance abuse, high need in the level of care and treatment and services that are necessary. And teen court is really designed in order to give teens access to the courtroom on a much lower scale without the significant consequences while playing a part in that court system. So they are actually appearing as some of the attorneys and representing their colleagues, their students. And so that is a great way in order to get the teenagers and the school involved in the educational portion of the court system. As a 2+ year member of a drug and alcohol treatment court, I am 100% invested and in support of those programs. Evidence-based decision-making has proven that those have been successful. We are definitely in need of mental health courts and especially in need of family courts.
Thank you. Bremen, your question to Lakeisha first.
The general public often knows very little about the day-to-day operation of the court system. Would you like to see more outreach to kind of inform the community about how some of this stuff works, and how do you think that that could be accomplished?
I do. I believe that the judiciary is obligated to inform the community. And I believe that the community should know what is going on in the walls of that courthouse. I think they should have access to the judiciary. I pride myself on being very transparent in every portion of my job. And so one of the things that I had decided when I took the bench was our CCAP system, which is the public access system, is designed to give the community access to what has happened in certain hearings. I have wanted to provide as much information as possible, legally possible, using that CCAP system. I have also welcomed people into the courtroom to observe me and to ask me questions because they have a right to do so. I also believe that an informed community is a powerful community. And so when you have an understanding of the way that the legislature is, and it doesn't necessarily reconcile, while I am not the legislator and I respect the separation of powers, the community should know, because those are our voters and they should know how the laws are impacting our court system and our community.
Thank you. Okay, Mike, same question.
I think it's important for the public to be involved with the legal system. Certainly a way that we can do that, I think, as attorneys and judges, is to be a part of our community. And I believe that most of us try to do that. We try to be involved in different boards, different activities with our children. And part of that is getting the public to know that we are real people as well. And I think that encourages people to want to come and see what we do. Part of it also is involved the schools and offering opportunities for them to come and do field trips into the courtroom. I know there are some times where the classes will, even play different roles, where that is certainly something that I would be an advocate for, having different classrooms into my courtroom so that they can be a part of it as well.
Thank you. We're back to Karen to Mike, right?
So, Judge Hayes, sorry, you brought up the legislature. So my question is, where do you stand on legalization of possession of marijuana?
Well, as a judge, our role is really not to take a position in terms of what the legislature should or should not do. Certainly, that is well within the purview of the legislature should they decide to legalize marijuana in our state. It currently is not. So in terms of my belief as to what they should or they shouldn't do, it really doesn't matter. The role of a judge is to be that of a neutral advocate, not put one's own personal opinions or beliefs into what should happen with those that are brought before you. So I really take no position as to what the legislature should do with regards to legalizing marijuana.
Lakeisha?
Thank you. As to whether marijuana should be legalized or not, I think that is definitely, as we've seen, part of evidence-based decision-making. What has the history and the numbers shown us from where we were decades ago until now? And how has the community's perspective and opinion on that changed? I don't believe that it is up to me to decide if it should be legalized or not. However, I do support, especially in our community, which the district attorney's office has decided to make some of the low possession offenses monetary penalties. And so as that has been the policy of the district attorney's office, it makes sense to me. And as far as whether it becomes legal or not, of course, up to the legislature.
Okay, thank you. Bremen, your question will go to Lakeisha first.
Yeah, how much discretion does a circuit court judge have in applying the law after a jury has ruled?
That question is dependent on how the jury has ruled and the type of law that we're speaking of. Of course, in a criminal case, if the jury has found not guilty, that becomes the judgment of the court. And so when a jury hears a case, and we have asked them to decide the facts of that case and deliberate on that and deliver a verdict, that verdict should be respected. And it is not on me to overturn that. We ask our community, we ask the citizens of our county to come in and serve essentially as the judges of fact. In fact, they all rise. They, are sitting there listening to that case. And it is not for me to overturn a decision made by a unanimous jury.
Mike?
Now, a jury certainly is the fact finder in a case where they're involved. And so with respect to the facts that have been decided, a judge really does not have much discretion after that. However, there may be legal issues that arise. And occasionally in trials there are motions after the verdict that a judge may need to decide a specific legal issue, but it's really tailored to just whatever that specific motion is. So that would not necessarily affect the jury's fact-finding, but may affect the outcome of the case if there's an appellate issue that may arise as well.
Okay, thank you. I think now we're going to go to the opportunity for clarification. You may each have 30 seconds to clarify or rebut something said by your opponent if you wish, or to use it for anything else. 30 seconds will go to you first, Mike.
Well, I've really enjoyed this process of getting to know so many people around Winnebago County. This is my home. I enjoy living here. I've lived here my whole life. My family's here, and I look forward to the opportunity to hopefully have your vote coming up on April 5th. I believe that I will make an excellent judge here in Winnebago County, and I hope I do get that vote from you.
Thank you. Lakeisha?
Thank you. This past year serving as a judge has given me an opportunity to really assess where and how I am going to be most involved in the judiciary to benefit my community. I have spent so much time living in this community, listening to the community members, and now as a judge, being even more able to provide some of the protections that they want, which is protection in the community. I have so much more to give to this community. I am just getting started. And so as I've assessed in this past year, in order to develop plans and strategies to get the best outcomes, I have a lot to do.
Okay, thank you. This concludes the forum for Winnebago County Circuit Court Judge Branch 4. On Tuesday, April 5th, you may vote for one of these candidates for a 6-year term. After a short break, we will resume with the Winnebago County Board Roundtable discussion. Thank you.